allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just a reminder, we need to silence this.
Okay, on our budget hearing, we've still got our public hearing open on the budget. Does anybody have any comments? In your packet, you'll see Jody put in the budget. There's a couple line items. She's changed a little bit. They're highlighted in yellow. So, have any questions for her? Why? Now's the time to ask her.
Jody, for Sterling codifiers, have we looked at anyone else, any other vendors for that lately? Okay.
And the other, what I added there was every 2 years, of course, we get new law books. And this happened to be the year, and I had forgotten about that, and they're about $500, maybe less, so that's why I added to that.
I've got all my questions answered when I asked you before, so.
Any other comments? Nobody? We will close the public hearing on the 2020 budget. Okay. Have everybody read the minutes from previous meeting, August 20th?
Mm-hmm.
Do I have a motion?
Move to approve the minutes.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the August 20th meeting. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any requests to be out of state between now and 17th?
All eyes on you, Mark.
I'm going anywhere.
Hey,
I'm just going to Billings, it's still in the state.
Oh, hey, did you start?
Oh, I did.
Yep,
Good
Mark's,
job.
he's on it.
Hey, did we check to see if we're online?
Yeah, I saw that was.
But
Okay.
did you see if we're actually on?
Have you looked at it on your computer, Mel?
I got it.
Tom's got it.
Tom's
Thanks,
got
Tom.
it, cool.
All right, unfinished business. We've got a motion.
Thanks, Chris.
We've got a motion tabled right now that we need to discuss or bring off the table. Do I have any discussion on that?
Did we talk to,
It's right in front of you.
Yep, it's in your packet. So as
So
a
the
So-
first
point
thing you
of
need to
order,
do
who's
is-
remove it from the table?
First thing we gotta have
So I
a
move to
motion.
remove it from the table.
just as a point of order, do we have a motion on the table or is it just the agenda topic item on the table? Just to clarify.
It's the agenda topic.
The
item. Because it was,
topic.
yeah.
That's
You
fine.
have to make the
We
motion.
have,
Yep.
right, we have to move to remove it.
I'll second.
By the way, the battery in this thing's dead.
It's been moved and seconded to bring Mark, the topic off the table.
Yeah.
Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Okay. Now, I guess we have to decide what we want to do with our topic we had on the table.
Well, would it be worthwhile if we read the letter from our attorney as our part of our council?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Which one? We've got one from Jen.
The one from Jen is the one I was referring to.
Okay. Just Dan, in response to your recent request of Julie Brantley to paint City Park, I recommend that the City of Choteau adopt a policy regarding volunteers. Therefore, I'm willing to work on a draft proposed policy. And to the complaint with MMIA, all project proposals and applications should be submitted for approval before any work begins. In addition, each individual who volunteers must provide their name, social security number to the city for reporting under the workman's compensation. Each application should be reviewed for approval or denied on the basis of community needs, cost to the city, and the risk associated, the volunteer's skills and ability to complete the project, the city's availability to train and supervise the project. Any additional concerns, please contact me, Jen Stutz, attorney at law. So I read the MMIA one too?
Yeah.
Okay, this is from Ann Comack. She is the attorney claims manager with MMIA, which is our insurance company. Below are the points that the MMIA suggests our members consider when discussing the use of volunteers to assist the city projects. While the MMIA does not dissuade the use of volunteers, from a risk management perspective, we do encourage members to be strategic in their use of volunteers. Be specific in the scope of the project, assess the risks associated with the project to be determined if the use of volunteers is safe, and reasonable. Consider the ability of the volunteers to do the project. Train and supervise the volunteers through the project.
So if I'm reading this right, Jen, and what we just read was the claims manager for our insurance, is that right?
Yes.
Yes.
And based on that, our attorney said we should have a policy.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is the proposal and application that she put together, right?
I put it together, actually.
Steve.
You put that
Yes,
together,
sir.
okay.
Loosely based off the Eagle project, it might look a little familiar.
So it does. So the idea is someone wants to do a project, they come in, they fill this out, and then we vote on it, put them under our insurance.
So the
whatever
intent
case
is, my intent was it would go by a public works director just to assess, does it
Mhm.
fit into his plans, his goals, for the parks, for whatever infrastructure. And then once it's approved, it comes to the council for approval.
Right.
Just it has a kind of second, two-tiered check and balance to make sure that stuff is compliant. There's, people who are confident they're doing stuff, et cetera.
So from a process standpoint, would it be appropriate to have a motion and then have a discussion and then have a vote? Or can we do that tonight?
You cannot vote on this application tonight because it's new. You can have the discussion if this is the path you want to.
Okay.
That's what Jennifer, I asked Jennifer specifically today, what is the process to make sure that I was correct and you can.
Because you can't vote on an item that's not on the agenda.
Right.
Exactly.
Correct.
So
And so the item that's on the agenda is whether or
From
not
the-
Julie
yeah.
Brantley gets to finish
Right.
painting the mini park. And now she's gone for
2 months. is
a
what she
couple
said.
months, so, okay.
So-
I was under the understanding that there was another letter put to the mayor from Carol Cole.
Right,
Yeah.
and that was read at the last meeting, and that was they approved of the colors.
Oh, I guess I didn't hear that.
So the process would be if we put it on to vote at the next meeting. And after that point,
Policy.
From that meeting, someone could fill this out, get it approved and do the work.
So does that mean that we putting it back on the table then until next meeting?
It's up to you guys.
How would we
Not
get it on
really.
next meeting's agenda? Because if you table it, you have to remove it from the table.
You could just put it off till the next, you can decide what you want to do. I can't tell you what to do. This is up to you guys. You could address, if you want to address this first. It's up to you if you need to.
And my input is I would follow the advice of our attorney and our insurance.
Right,
And so I like this proposal. I would say let's do whatever we need to do to vote on the proposal. If the earliest opportunity for that is the next meeting, I'd recommend we put it on the agenda for the next meeting.
Is that a motion?
Sure.
I'll second it.
Okay,
Good luck getting that done, Jody.
I just have one thing I'd like to just throw on this application, just a question to MMIA. I know, don't they have issue with kids under 18 for hiring?
yeah, they do.
So I just want, if if there's any kind of an age thing,
If that applies to volunteers as
and
well.
if we need to have an age on this form.
I would push back and say,
With our work comp.
for what it's worth, in the scope of project, it does say to, put on who's doing the work. And so that, I don't know if we need to line item it or just
Well,
make that a
it's
part.
a question to MMIA.
Okay.
Right.
Right.
If they have an issue with under 18-year-olds.
Well, and I think for our purposes, this isn't, in my mind, this isn't about work at the mini park. This is about setting a volunteer policy for the city for the future.
Right.
So it's gonna take a little longer because there's really not a policy. And that's something I would say to, anyone that's watching or here tonight is be patient, but this is putting something in process so that next year, when someone wants to do volunteer work, we say, oh, here, fill this out.
Or even when Julie gets back, and if we decide that we're gonna let her do this, when Julie gets back, we can say, okay, please do this, and then,
There's very specific rules with children. So my understanding is what tools they can use. You can't run a lawnmower until you're a certain age. I don't know what those ages are. That is not my,
well, and some of that falls under MCA
it does. It does.
and federal,
Is that
So they
Workman's
can help
Comp
us with that.
And OSHA.
Or OSHA stuff or whatever.
it's, yeah,
Well, so I guess my other question is for Mike is, part of MMIA's recommendation was to train and supervise volunteers throughout the project. So in the example of the mini park, if someone said, oh, I want to do the mini park, that's gonna mean someone, either you or your staff or whatever, that's gonna be there to sort of supervise and say, well, here's the brushes, here's whatever, make sure it's done safely, Is that gonna be an issue?
No.
Okay.
I mean, it may be, it's gonna be a case by case situation.
Obviously,
where,
which is why I think we have the form.
At some point, there's a fulcrum where it's gonna be easier for us just to do the job
Yeah.
rather than manage volunteers.
Yeah, and when someone wants to do something, we wanna help them do that, but it's gotta
Right.
be done in wisdom and in order, so.
well, and safely.
Well said.
So for this volunteer thing, is it gonna be from 1 to 20, or what is it gonna be? I don't think little kids should be on that, paint job. I truly don't.
Well, and that's what we're saying, Ethel.
That's what we need to find out.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the question we got for them is,
That's what they told me in the beginning, but
Do you see any way we're gonna get this project done before the snow flies?
yeah,
Or is it gonna be next year again and then the next year?
It's not gonna be back until November.
Well, but I also think if she comes back or someone fills this out, a human fills this out, and we approve it on November 12th, as soon as it's appropriate to paint in the spring, get it done. Like, once it's approved, you can do it. You see what I'm saying?
or even if we have the process in place, she comes back in October, and we say, okay, dude, fill it out, go to it.
Well, we can mail this.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, it can be,
right.
Right.
again, I don't see this as a mini park issue. I see this as a process issue that we need to put in place.
Right. And so I guess to answer your question, Ethel,
What's
I
that?
guess to answer your question is, if it's feasible, yeah, it'll get done before the snow flies, but it's possible that it won't.
Well, If it's a high priority project, if it becomes that,
Right,
we can
Get it done.
public works can put something else off and paint.
Yeah.
Right.
Paint it. So,
But
Good
I
point.
think it should be done, during the week, so we don't have to pay a city employee overtime for a weekend.
Right.
yep.
no, we're not gonna do that.
Mike works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so.
We're not doing overtime.
No.
Saturday night at midnight, Mike's your guy.
Volunteer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Voluntold, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Mike does a lot of volunteer.
So just so I can verify, Jody, this then will be on the agenda at the next meeting.
Yep.
And the policy.
Yeah.
And the policy,
Yeah.
Yep.
and we need a little more fine tuning.
And
Yeah,
we'll
we'll-
figure out the age thing.
But it'll be on the agenda to vote on the next meeting. was my question.
So what we need to do tonight is we need to put that park painting request back on the table, or back off the table.
Well, so it's off the table right
Or
now.
we
Can't we just,
need
can't
to
we,
table it, excuse
so do
me.
we make a motion to have it, that vote at the next meeting?
You can do that.
So we do, I would, just as a point of order, we do have a motion on the table that you made and I seconded.
Mhm.
We need to address that before we can.
Right. And that
Well,
motion
that was to remove
was,
it from the table and that passed.
no, there was another,
You made the motion to put this
The
and the
policy.
policy on the agenda for the next meeting, I think you can leave the whole thing off the table and make that motion.
And that was, okay, that was where I was going. Cool.
At that point, I would call the question.
Okay,
Any more discussion?
I don't know. We've ran into a
Okay,
cul
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Resolution 841, special assessments.
You skipped one.
What about the children at play signage at the mini park?
Oh.
So where did this one come from?
Julie.
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 Okay, I didn't see any name on it, so.
Yep.
She
Oh,
took
that's right,
the
the one you
actual original, but we did look, just so you know, we did look up the cost of the signs. They're very, very reasonable. They were $10 and.
a piece.
Yeah.
No, that's not.
And
I
we-
think it's a great idea.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea too.
Because there's nothing down there telling you that there's a park or that there's.
Or the 15-mile-an-hour speed limit. We can put the sign,
With-
there's 15-mile-an-hour
Right.
speed limit on each corner. We can put one of these signs below each of the 15
Yep.
an hour.
Well, I move that we approve the request.
Second.
They'll be ordered here shortly.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All
that's-
those in,
Do we need to
we
vote on
gotta
that?
call the
You
question.
gotta-
Do somebody have to make a motion then?
We did that.
Okay.
How about if I do?
I'll second.
Sorry, Dan.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now on
That's not nearly as
resolution
funny as it used to
841.
be. Yeah.
41.
Oh, yeah, there's 42, there's 41. What we're doing here is in decreasing the front footage from, what was it, 50,
55?
We're decreasing the street lighting.
By 5 cents.
5 cents, was it 50?
50 to 45.
Decreasing the street lighting assessment per front footage from 50 to 45. Increasing the street maintenance from 55 to $1.10. And tree and sidewalk is staying, isn't it?
Yep.
It's staying the same.
So really the increase is in the street maintenance with a decrease in the
Street
lighting.
maintenance, which we pretty well understand why we're doing it after the,
And
Word.
hopefully with the street lights, they are supposedly within the next 2 years, supposed to be coming in with LED.
all right,
When that happens, we can reduce that more.
Okay.
Okay.
It's supposed to, supposed to
be half.
be half.
Okay.
We're paying
I
right
mean,
now.
So
if my house is any indication, that's probably right.
Yeah.
does this fall in line, Mike, with your 5-year plan to?
Okay, cool. I would move adoption of resolution 841.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, resolution 842, the 2020 budget. Do I have a motion?
I so move.
Second.
Moved by Mark, second by Stewart. Is there any discussion on it? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, also in your packet, you'll see the application for revolving loan fund from Jim Anderson. Been approved by the loan committee.
I had a quick question, Jody, maybe you have the answer. He said he had had 2 previous loans.
Yes, and he paid them off.
Right.
What amounts were they?
I don't remember.
Were they-
5,000, there was 5,000, I don't remember. They weren't quite as much as this, but very, very timely.
Okay.
Not a problem at
The
all.
committee wasn't worried about the amount.
Nope, not at all.
Alrighty.
Do I have a motion to approve Jim's application?
I'll make that motion.
I will second.
Motion been made by Stuart, second by Steve. Is there any more discussion?
I think he's spot on that he'll have a line of work
Yeah.
out the door as soon as he gets this up and running, so kudos to him for,
All those in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay.
What's it for?
A garage.
Set up
By-
a shop,
mechanic
an auto
shop.
shop garage down by,
He bought one of Danny Perry's buildings down on Big Alley.
so he's gonna basically set up an auto repair shop. Yeah. I was just didn't say.
Like I said, I think he's exactly right that he's gonna have a line out the door when he opens it.
Okay, we need to replace one of our board on T-bed because Jill Smith didn't want to do it.
Okay.
Right.
Just as a point of order on that, it's not that she has resigned, her term is up.
Her term is
Okay.
expired.
Okay, and she didn't want to.
Continue on now.
Didn't want to.
So does that mean the campground is no longer going to be part of the
They are
T-bid?
not pursuing that currently, correct?
Okay,
I move we approve the appointment of Diane Gahan as a T-bid board member.
Second,
hey, I didn't have to say.
Do we have any discussion on Diane?
I think it's a good choice.
Okay, all those in favor?
aye.
Okay, now in your package, you got the T-bid work plan. Saying what they're doing, how they're doing it.
Mhm.
Do we have any discussion on that? Oops. I guess we need to make a motion to approve it first, or we have
I would move to approve the T-bid work plan.
Second.
been moved and seconded. Do we have any discussion on it?
Tom, were there any major changes in it?
So the only
Compared to last year.
change is the budget. And that budget comes from remaining funds from the previous year plus expected 9,000
So carryover funds plus
carryover
budget,
plus
okay.
expected revenue to take the new budget amount.
And where, do we get a report from you guys, like of how many stay, like where
I
you're,
get quarterly reports and payments from the hotel.
okay. Okay, cool,
And
that's
so
all.
it's slightly down from previous years,
Mhm.
which might be multiple things, maybe the ski area is part of that. Fire.
Weather,
Weather, firemen, there was no firemen this year, really, so.
Glacier wasn't open until June.
There's a few things, so it's been a little more in past years, so I'm expecting to be a little lower.
Okay,
What does TBID stand for? What's that?
Tourism Business Improvement District. And so the way it's currently structured, the mechanism itself, sorry to
nope, you're
get into
good.
the weeds on this stuff.
Hey, you're the Port Authority guy.
Yeah, yeah.
You guys
Um,
kind of work hand in
The
hand.
Business Improvement District exists right on the footprint right now of the Stage Stop Hotel. We can expand that to be the footprint of the hotel, the footprint of the campground, the footprint of the other hotels, and each night that there's a stay, the T-bid receives $1. And so that then gets cycled into a fund to promote tourism and really, at the end of the day, promote putting heads in beds in Choteau.
Right.
I got that.
So,
for a second.
so here's a question for you, because it just occurred to me. Has anybody thought to reach out to the VRBOs?
It gets really complicated.
Does it? Okay.
Yes, is the answer. It gets very complicated.
Okay, I wondered.
And maybe this isn't the time for the discussion, but with the other motels in town, has there been any interest?
Not
No.
previously.
No. They talked about it, but
Yeah,
that's as far as-
there's some new potential with some changes happening, but
And the campground was in it for how long?
they were not.
They
never in
weren't,
it.
they looked at it.
We
They-
looked at
they
it.
Part
were
of having
looking
Jill
at-
on the board was to try and recruit the campground.
Trying to-
Gotcha.
So really, this is all off the stage stop.
Yep.
All this money comes off from them.
All right.
I would call the question.
And all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion's approved. Claims, everybody had a chance to look at the claims.
Move we approve the claims.
Second.
Any discussion on claims? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, Public Works Director.
Everybody's got a report? Yep. I'll try to go through it quick. Start with wastewater. We have a new number up there. You see that?
Record
We actually got
lows.
down to 177,000 on last Friday.
Nice.
Well done.
That's pretty much unheard of in Choteau. You figure 100 gallons per person per day, that's kind of what we're supposed to do. So, I think a lot of that's a result of the manhole lining project, and probably the lining project last year and what we've been doing in the meantime,
Wow.
working on manholes and stuff. We finished up the lining project on Friday last week. It went really well. I put another graph in there that shows the effluent coming out of the sewer plant. Our influent meter's still not working, but what comes in goes out. And you can see it dropped through the course of that project pretty significant.
Yeah, like half.
Yeah, it was significant. On the back, in the back of your packet, there's a photo of one of the manholes. It shows pure groundwater. There's sewer bypassed around that manhole in that photo, so gives you an idea of what we're dealing with. Project was budgeted for $95,000. We came in with about
About 81.
$80,589. So,
Nice.
got it done under budget, everything went good. Out sewer plant, everything's going good. We're about 75% of the way processing sludge for the whole year. We do it all in August, usually in September.
How are the bugs doing?
Bugs doing great. The low flows are very good. We have high BOD coming in. Our sewer plant is really functioning as it was designed to.
Good.
You can see our results there. We're running effluent BOD. The highest is 3 milligrams per liter. A lot of zeros. TSS, which is solids leaving the plant, are 0. E. coli, which is an indicator of bacteria in the water, are pretty much non-existent. One probable number per 100 milliliters. That's basically none. We still don't have the flow meter working out there. Just been trying to time it when flows are low, so they are. We're
There.
trying to do it this week. Moving on to water, we're still running a lot of loss. Really haven't had time to look into it this summer, but things are slowing up. We're gonna get into it. We're running at 42% still. Streets have been very busy. In the back of your packet, there's a breakdown of how much we were able to chip seal. There's a breakdown of the budget. We did about 32,000 lineal feet of streets. Some of those streets were done twice. Where we ground, we put a coat of 3/8 or 3/4 on, and then a coat of 3/8 afterwards, so they were double chipped.
So is that 32,000 counting them twice?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what we laid down, was 32,000 lineal feet, at 26 feet wide, roughly. It's, it's kind of I'm sure there's an error somewhere in that number. But we came out of the cost, we budgeted roughly $138,000 for that. Right now, we're sitting at about 121, so we came in under that. We're hoping to take the remaining funds, roll them into next year, and have things as we move forward into a system where every year we chip seal, and hopefully we chip seal at least 1/5 of the town. So every 5 years we're coming around. Some of the streets weren't quite ready to chip seal. As we move forward, we'll do better prep to go back on these and fix some of the dents and potholes that were left, and we're working on that. Cost was about $2 per square yards. And that's about it. Other stuff is ongoing fiber optic issues. We still have a lot of work to do in the alleys with the fiber optics, and that's coming up next.
What's their proposed end date? October?
It was October in the beginning. I don't know where they're at now.
No, it's October of
The rumors I
next
hear they're significantly behind schedule, but I don't know. So
Okay.
I think that's it. There's a bunch of stuff in the back, if anybody's really curious. Breakdown on budgets for both projects, map of the streets we did.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Mike. Your crews have been doing a great job.
Yeah, we got a great.
Yeah.
Take care and work hard.
Well, it's awesome to see that that manhole lining project did what it was supposed to do.
There's a lot of bang for the buck there.
Yeah, yep.
It's an interesting project. Watch them do it. It's
We had
a,
one man and was over there. We had a lot of hours in that.
yeah, we had a lot of money in that one. That's the one the water's running through right there.
It was over.
But it's pretty amazing how they put that in and how it turns out. You would never believe it.
Yeah.
It happened that quick, but it does.
What's the, is there any kind of warranty or,
Theoretically, 20-year warranty on that work.
okay,
Wow.
Never heard of such thing, but.
Yeah.
Oh, keep the
They've been
receipt.
doing it a long time.
yeah, keep the receipt, yeah.
Financial officer.
Well, I've done enough talking today, but, just one announcement, Becky is retiring, she's gonna retire at the end of October. There will be an ad in the paper tomorrow, just to get a jump on things,
Now remind me, is she 3/4 time?
yeah, 30 hours a week.
Mm.
She does get benefits come with that, so,
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
She will be retiring, so she will be missed.
Yeah, she does a good job.
Yeah, Mike's not gonna have anybody to pick her.
Okay, Steve, do you have anything?
Just briefly, I want to put on my Port Authority hat for a second and encourage folks in the public, if you have an ag-related business or business idea, on the Port Authority Facebook page right now, we've got a link to Montana Farm Bureau Foundation grant. They're looking to spend about $100,000 in Montana this year on ag-related businesses. It's a good opportunity. And if you've got an idea that's ag-related or a business that's ag-related that needs some support, it might be a good opportunity for Choteau.
Stuart?
I don't have anything.
I don't have anything this time either.
Mark? Well, I really don't have much. I just want to thank our Public Works crew for the hours they put in. Especially Mike, the hours he put in.
We had a busy month.
It was a busy month.
Just in time for a busy winter.
All the help, without all the help stuff that they supported our manhole boys with, they might still be down there working on a manhole. But it turned out good, a lot better than we ever thought it was going to after the first day. Why?
I thought we were gonna hang it up.
Those pumps sat there and run for quite a while, but we got her done, so. That's all I have got. Do I have any public comment tonight?
Before we get there, is there a zoning permit? There's no,
You know what, I forgot to put that on
That's
there,
okay.
I'm sorry.
and my question is more about if someone builds something without a zoning permit, what happens? Or is that a question I can get answered later?
Well, if we catch them, then they get a stop work permit, and Tom's been really good about that, and that's supposed to come from Kyle. But then normally people just come in and get their permit, and all is good, and we just move on.
Okay.
We just send them, if we see it, then we send them a building permit in the mail, and 99.9%
Come
of
in
the
and do it,
people,
okay.
oh, I'm sorry, I forgot.
No worries, okay, thank you.
Can I ask something along those lines? So when you're zoning, you do your building permits, so like the new duplex that's being built over in our neighborhood. The process of that, is that when it's approved, is it approved as presented, or are you able to make changes? My question is, does it have sidewalks? Was it approved with sidewalks for that location?
No, all that was approved at this time was the building itself.
Because there's no other sidewalks in that whole
Because there-
neighborhood.
I know, but nonetheless, according to the Sterling codifiers, any house built in that subdivision after 79 is supposed to happen. And with the issues we've been having concerning sidewalks and boulevards, I got to think that's, was just my question.
That's a very good question, I can't answer.
Okay.
Something we'd have to look at, because I was not aware of that, so we'll have to look into that. Good question.
Any other public comment?
I have a couple questions and then maybe a comment.
Up podium and.
Are there Do you have any idea, Mike, how you expect the city to be using the lagoon? Is the lagoon being used currently? It's not, it's more or less dry.
Yeah, it's drying up. It gets a fair amount of groundwater that feeds into it, but this time of year, I just wrote the DEQ on it today. I said, I think it's about 60% empty. There's vegetation growing on the west side and a little bit on the east side. But as winter comes, it'll fill back up. It just does.
And yeah, right. And it seems plausible that it will be used to some degree in the fall when water's high.
Like last year we used it. It was in the last report I did exactly how many days. I have a feeling, my goal is that, and I think what we've done here this month and ongoing stuff, I mean, right now the guys are raising manhole lids to decrease inflow, like when we have snow melt or stuff. My goal is to get to the point where we don't ever use it again. And the difference between last year and this year was significant, and I hope to keep that trend going, and in a year, maybe two, we no longer have to bypass to it. We eliminate all that groundwater from our system.
Okay, is the city contracting anymore with those engineers, the wastewater treatment facility engineers? I don't think they are. The city's not.
Not much, I don't think.
Okay. I'm wondering about, that lagoon was scheduled to be reclaimed already, as you're aware, and obviously that didn't work out. The issue, it seems to me, is that the lagoon that it's being used to hold the wastewater, at least last spring, and you're saying that hopefully we're not going to be using it this upcoming spring, but it seems fairly plausible that we will be, and that's the same thing the DEQ's been telling me. DEQ says they don't have a plan for any reclamation or any solution. So right now we have a lagoon that the pan liner, which I believe was a bentonite pan liner.
There was never a line.
Okay, well, whatever, there was some kind of a shell or a liner.
It was a wetland they built a dike around. And when we got out there and worked in it, there was actually areas, and the DEQ's been out there where it's just gravel.
Mhm.
I mean, literally gravel with this much sludge on it. And there's also areas where there's old cattails down in the muck. Anaerobic environment, man, rotted. There was never, there's a liner in some areas, I think it's clay that actually came in with the groundwater through the collection system. So I don't think there's ever a bentonite layer in that lagoon. There's no documentation of it anywhere.
Has it come to anyone's mind that perhaps the engineers are culpable for still having, that we're still on this lagoon though?
Well, I mean, I think from what I was told, when they were going through the planning process, it was a pretty open conversation between the engineers and the DEQ. Nobody really knew what was gonna happen with that lagoon once you stop putting water. They didn't know whether it was gonna dry up. I mean, because they didn't know how much groundwater influenced it. So it's kind of we're gonna see what happens kind of deal. That's the way I understand the situation. That was before I got here. Right now, it seems like, in my mind, if we can continue on a trend we're on, not use that lagoon, and what we're putting in that lagoon when we use it is technically wastewater. It's 99.9% groundwater. Whatever we discharge from that lagoon, we are sampling. Exactly the same as we did when we used the lagoon, exactly the same as we sample when we discharge from our plant. And it passes ferment. It's clean water, and lagoon's actually clean. It's working now when we need it, mainly because what we're putting in there is so dilute. Once we get to the point where we don't need it anymore, I don't think we're gonna get rid of it. It's gonna be a wetland where it was in the beginning. And I think at that point, I'd like to see, you know, I'd be all for like trying to get Ducks Unlimited or somebody in here to work with us on it because it's a great piece of wildlife.
Mhm.
There's more shorebirds out there right now than there is probably freezing per square foot. There's more tiger salamanders out there than you can shake a stick at. It needs to go back to being a wetland, and that's, I guess, my long-term view of it. I don't think we're ever gonna dry it up.
No.
I don't think Mother Nature's gonna allow that.
Well, it's been a wetland since before that was a lagoon.
I think it was a wetland, they built a dike around it.
I know there was some concern that just, because the city, my understanding, was on a path to actually go towards the reclamation.
That's what
So
we're
that
trying to
bottom
do.
of the lagoon was disturbed.
No, we worked
Well, that,
very closely with the DEQ on that.
well, I know you worked very closely to the
They came
DEQ.
out and approved everything we did. They wanted us to scrape the sludge off, which we did very delicately with a skid steer, was all like this much. Where it was that deep, we took that much off.
That's what I'm referring to. I'm referring to, that incident, there was some concern because the bottom of the lagoon was disrupted.
And
And this isn't, and, these are just facts. Because,
where's the fact that it was disrupted? Where's the fact there ever was?
well, there's emails.
Well, but I mean, was there a bottom?
Yeah, no, there's emails.
Was there a layer? I mean, what were you
What's that?
disrupting?
No,
The DEQ came out.
The concern was
and inspected it,
between-
and they were very
no.
happy with it.
Well, I know that too, but this can all be substantiated.
Okay.
And it's
I'm
factual.
more than welcome to give a tour out there anytime we go.
Well,
look at it.
I
You can show me where the breaks in the liner are, or the liner that doesn't exist.
and I'm not talking about going out there with scuba gear or x-ray vision and, showing you where it is out there.
Where there's water.
All I'm saying is you can read in the emails between the city and the DEQ, where the city and the DEQ are expressing concern that the groundwater is mixing with wastewater.
Well,
I
there was
think
concern
that
when we were
I'm
doing
not-
it not to dig
I'm
that.
not trying to cast aspersions upon what the city works is doing in general. I mean, I think this all sounds great as far as the manhole covers and all that sounds wonderful. Sounds like, and also your plan seems reasonable, that it's like, hopefully we can get off of this entirely within 2 years. Also, I understand that, yeah, that's entirely reasonable also, that it's like unreasonable to think that's gonna dry up or that, it's inherently bad. I'm not saying that. I'm not trying to just get into an argument about it, but at the same time, it's just, now is time for facts, not fictions. And
I'm all for
when
that.
it comes
Yep.
down to it, it's, I mean, we can talk about tours and we can talk about, and we can have all kinds of rhetoric, but the bottom of that lagoon was disturbed inadvertently. And I'm not faulting for that
Have you been
having,
out there and looked
had
at it?
happened.
Where are you
What's that?
saying that says that it's disturbed?
Let's go ahead and wrap it up. We got 5-minute
as
limit.
I explained, they're emails between the city of Choteau. No, I mean,
Let's wrap it up.
that's actually, I mean, these are facts.
I wrote those emails.
Yeah, I know. You wrote the emails that say that that the bottom of the lagoon is disturbed.
It's not-
Hey, that's a fact. That's a
No.
fact. That's a fact.
If you ever want to go out there and have a tour, I'll go.
Hey, yeah, I'd be happy to go out there and have a tour. I'd be interested in that. And I'm not saying any of this to cast aspersions upon
Is
what's
there,
being done on the whole. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. I actually appreciate all the questions being answered. Thank you.
any other public comment? So a motion.
Move to adjourn.
Meeting's adjourned.
Hi-ho, hi-ho.
Got rail cars, huh?
Thanks, Nate.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank
and they gotta be loaded by Friday.
Tell you what, that, with the engineers, that rail crew brought them in.